Good evening. Welcome back to another devotional tonight. Tonight we're coming from our favorite chapter of late, Matthew chapter 5. We're going through the Beatitudes in the Sermon on the Mount. We covered the first two. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Tonight we look at chapter 5, verse 5. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. We've already been told that blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. They get the kingdom of heaven. Today we're talking about those who will inherit the earth, so heaven and earth. In some ways, though, these verses are set up as parallelism, where you have blessed are the poor in spirit, those who are humble, those who are not prideful, those who are of lowly spirit. And they'll inherit, or they will receive, the kingdom of heaven. And tonight we're looking at blessed are the meek, which is the same word in many ways like we talked about in the fruit of the Spirit with gentleness. Blessed are the gentle, for they shall inherit the earth. It has echoes of Psalm 37 and Isaiah 61 ringing through it. If you want to do a little extra research, go back and read Psalm 37 about those who shall inherit the land, the meek who shall inherit the land, and Isaiah 61 as well. So it's echoing many of the promises of the Old Testament to the nation of Israel, and Christ here in the Beatitudes is summing things up in a very succinct way, one after the next after the next. I want to look at two applications of this. The first one is the secondary, and the second one is the primary. So we're flipping them for intentional emphasis. But the first one is, how should we then live in this world? And how will we then better our own situations in it? The meek has not to do with those who are submissive, as in cringing. Blessed are the small, the weak, and the infirm, those who hide in corners. Blessed are the cowardly. It's not that, not by any means. Much like the statement on gentleness, it's more of an idea of competence that's accepted one's position. In some ways, you could even say this term has to do with blessed are the humbled, those who have been humbled. I would say that in some ways you could take a sports analogy here and say, blessed are the vanquished, for they shall be victors. How so? Well, in this very simple way. If you are meek, if you are gentle, if you have been vanquished and have lost and you own it, you're teachable. You've all seen the response of athletes who lost the game and were blaming everyone else. It's everyone else's fault. It's his fault. It's his fault. It's the coach. It's the players. It's the owner. It's the budget. It's the referees. In other words, what they're saying is, it's not my fault. There's nothing for me to learn. There's no way for me to grow. I have no part in this but victim. Blessed are the vanquished, for they shall become victors. Are you a teachable person? Can you own your mistakes and your failures? If you have been humbled by a job loss or by a relationship death, either the death of a loved one or the death of a loved relationship, have you been humbled? Many people have endured pain, but they've never been humbled. They've never been meek. They've never asked, what do I need to learn? How do I need to change? How can I grow? Meekness has more to do, though, than just with somebody who is an oppressed person who is humble about it. As profound as you must admit that statement was to a bunch of oppressed Israelites under the overlordship of the most powerful empire of its day, that of Rome. They had within their own group there schisms. They had the zealots, the Iscari, if you will, for whom many think that Judas Iscariot is named or relates. Those who would carry their daggers, which were askari, and whenever they would see a Roman soldier in an alleyway or somewhere that they could get them, they'd kill him. It was a subversive plot to overthrow the government, and many scholars believe that Judas was hopeful that Christ was going to lead just such a revolt, and that turning him in and betraying him could very well trigger the event he so hoped to happen, the overthrow of Rome. That's not meek. Now for the primary way in which it needs to be applied. In all of these Beatitudes, there is a sense of waiting upon the Lord for his victory, for his resolution to the problem. There is a grammatical phrase or a grammatical construct in Greek that is the divine passive, is what it's called. In other words, it's an action that occurs to you or that somebody else accomplishes on your behalf, and that person is God. And here we have what is the divine passive. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. That's the divine passive in the Greek. For God shall bequest to us the earth. Once again, Christ takes a lot of these promises in the Old Testament that are physical, that are located within the promised land, that are to a specific ethnic group, the Jews, and he universalizes them, and he also eternalizes them. That's not even a word, I don't think. But what he does is he takes these located promises and he expands them, both in time, in space, as well as in the recipients. Blessed are those who have been humbled in this life, who have realized that they have much to learn and are willing to learn it. For only those who know they need a Savior will reach out their hand to him. And only those who accept him as Lord will get to inherit the kingdom. Not just the kingdom that belongs in heaven, but the kingdom also that belongs on the renewed earth. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Are you meek? Are you competent yet humbled? Are you teachable? Are you learning? And have you accepted the fact that you are not God of your life? You are not in control of your life, that you have accepted the position of faithful servant to the Lord of the morning, the bright and morning star, Jesus Christ himself. Because if you've been humbled, if you're meek, you can accept the position of second instead of needing to be first. May our great God and King bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. And may you learn something today and tomorrow and the next day. And may you be better for it and inherit a little bit of the earth in this life, but all of it in age after age after age to come. Thank you and good night.